Hi everyone, welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Sundeep Mohindru, co-founder and CEO of M1xchange, a fintech platform for servicing finance needs of MSME across India. Sandeep is a chartered accountant by training and has over 20 years of industry experience. Hi Sandeep, welcome to ELI.
Thank you, Priya. My pleasure to be part of this lounge and look forward to interact with you on this.
Give us an introduction about yourself. Tell us who you are.
So, Priya, I am based out of Delhi NCR region. As you said, CA by profession, entrepreneur by heart. Started my career in 1996 when I finished my CA. Thereafter, worked for 2 years and then started my own organization, which was more of a consulting firm. And it was more like a proprietorship, which ran for about 4 years. Converted ourselves into a private limited company called Mind Integrated Solutions
Mhm.
in 2002. And thereafter, the second venture, which is M1xchange, has been started in 2016.
Mhm.
And these two ventures are running successfully. One of them is, both of them are now today technology oriented. And in this journey, we have started from scratch. I mean, both are greenfield projects which started from zero, and the learning has been immense and huge. Dealing with all partners, employees, teams. It's been a experience in itself.
Okay. Tell us more about M1 Exchange. What does it do on a day-to-day basis? What value it provides to the stakeholders? And also, if you care to explain to us how the underlying technology works.
Sure, sure. So M1 is solving a very prominent problem of the society for the MSMEs. Today, MSMEs, everyone talks about funding MSMEs digitally, and which is a good uh, uh, objective to achieve. We are also in the same similar objective. However, we are solving two unique problems. One is any business which which has customers, which builds to large corporates, medium corporates. Uh, they have a challenge in realization of their dues or collections from these large corporates. So M1 helps them to discount their receivables online, and with all the good fortune today, small and medium enterprises are logging in from 600 cities in India to discount their invoices, including places like Odisha,
Mhm.
including far-flung areas as far as Coimbatore or down south, or anywhere in India. People are logging in from 600 cities digitally, putting their invoices digitally, and getting them discounted. So this therefore solves one challenge for them, wherein they have to run after their customer for collection of dues. This takes away that challenge completely from them and de-risk their business from the collection views. The second point is that in our approach, we are not analyzing the balance sheet of the MSME. We are not analyzing his past credentials. Therefore, there is no limitation factor on discounting his receivables.
Mhm.
And the rate of interest at which the discounting is happening is at the rate at which his customer would have gotten the money.
Okay.
That means if he's supplying to Maruti or he's supplying to any large corporate in India, and if that corporate would get a rate of interest as low as 5%, 6%, 7% per annum, the
Mhm.
discounting happens at that rate.
Okay.
Therefore, the SME becomes very competitive. His cost of doing business comes down. He he's able to grow at a reasonable cost. He's not spending or he's not shelling out large amount of money for his discounting. So these are the problems that we are solving. A, collection risk. We are taking away that collection risk from him. We are taking away his hassle of collection from him. B, the cost of funding is available at a very, very competitive rate, at a rate at which a large corporate will get the funding. C, there is no limitation. We are not depending on his own balance sheet or credentials. We are doing it based on the risk of the customer he is supplying. So
Mhm.
these are the three challenges we are solving.
Okay. Sounds like a very interesting value proposition for the MSMEs. But like, I would like to understand now, how does this work in the hindsight? How are you able to generate money, generate a profit out of this model?
Sure. So, like your previous question was, how is it making value add to the all the stakeholders? So, one of the stakeholders is a MSME, which I've explained. Now, your second question is also connected to the other stakeholders, which are the banks on the platform and which are the large corporates on the platform. Now, how does it work? An MSME uploads the invoice on the platform. The large corporate, who is his customer, validates the invoice for its genuinity. That means the goods have been delivered or the services have been delivered, the quality is correct, the quantity is correct, the value is correct, and the due date is correct. So the large corporate approves the invoice on the platform, and then all the banks in India, 40 banks in India, participate to bid for discounting that invoice. Okay, now that bidding happens within a fraction of seconds, minutes, or few hours, and the best bid is then visible to the MSME. He can accept that bid. Now, once he does that, the funds get transferred to his account next day morning between 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. automatically,
Mhm.
and as the due date gets nearer, that means let's say the invoice due date is 60 days later when the large corporate will pay it. On the 60th day, we as an exchange collect the proceeds from that large corporate and give it back to the bank who has funded it.
Mhm.
So the SME doesn't have to follow up, SME doesn't have to worry about delay in collection or no collection. There is no penal interest, there is no default on him.
Mhm.
The bank is buying the receivable of the SME for the credit period. So if there is any delay, the extra interest is collected from the large corporate, not from the SME. Okay, so that's how it operates.
Okay.
And every movement of funds is automatic online. There is no charge given to the SME for collection of proceeds or anything.
Mhm.
There is an interest cost that he bears to the bank, and that's the cost that he has to incur, which is, as I said, lower than what he would have spent if he would have borrowed on his own.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, therefore, the other two stakeholders in this process is the bank and a large corporate. Now, how does a bank benefit? The bank benefits because this is digital. The bank does not have to have a branch in a small city to do this business. He is getting access to financing this MSME who is a supplier of a large corporate.
Mhm.
So the bank is taking a risk on a large corporate and giving the funding to the SME. So
Okay.
for him, all the compliances of priority sector lending are getting ticked,
Mhm.
and this is digital for him. The bank has not invested in any manpower. It is like a trading desk for them or a treasury desk for them, where they just see the invoices on the screen, and basis the best invoice, they discount it.
Okay.
So this is exactly how a bank benefits as a participant in this program.
Okay.
The cost of doing business for him reduces by almost, I would say, 10 to 15% of his original cost.
Mhm.
Now, how does a corporate benefit? If the cost of doing business for his supplier is coming down, then the corporate's cost of procurement also comes down.
True.
And all are all the corporates who are today on M1, they are benefiting because their cost of doing business in the last 3 years has gone down from these SMEs, and they come forward on their own now to share and to advise the MSMEs that you should use this platform, you should supply to us, take more orders,
Mhm.
and thereby reduce our cost and your cost.
Okay. Understood.
That's how it is.
Understood. Uh, Sounds like a very interesting model. I would like to now understand how do you make revenue out of it?
So our revenue is a small fee which is charged to an SME, and it is built in as a part of the interest cost which is being paid by the SME on the platform. And it's a very nominal fee, and it's completely linked to the value of the invoice and the business that he does. There is no fixed cost on him. If he's discounting, there is a cost. If he's not discounting, there is no cost. That's
Okay.
how it operates.
Sandeep, now we will talk about the process of building such a platform. Now, tell us, how did you come up with this idea in the first place?
Yeah, so Priya, this was a white paper released by RBI way back in 2015. And this white paper was talking about such a product being used in Brazil, and and is doing very well in that country. And India wanted to replicate it because there are so many MSMEs.
Hmm.
And I read that white paper. I found that interesting, and I thought this will solve the challenge of an MSME because he doesn't have to have his own balance sheet. This is not a loan for him.
Hmm.
The collection becomes easier for him, and this is digital. Now in 2015, the all the hype about being digital, fintech, all that was not there. So not many people were really interested in something like this. This was a completely greenfield project. It had never happened in India, and uh, because we found it interesting, so we thought we should apply to RBI and submit our credentials. And I must congratulate and say that RBI was open-minded to consider a technology company for this project. So the other people who have participated in these projects are large financial institutions. They have also set up something like this
Hmm.
under the license from RBI, and we are the technology company who stand out as a different company from them. And so essentially, uh, basis the past work that we had done in terms of my earlier venture, which is Mind Integrated Solutions, and the experience we could bring in this,
Hmm.
RBI considered us and they granted us this license.
Okay.
And how did we build it up? This has been built ground zero in partnership with RBI, because this is not just about technology, this is also about the ecosystem in India. The ecosystem in India did not exist for something like this. The relevant laws had to be created. How will a bank operate? How will a bank take risk? What will be the process of collection? What if collection fails? How will the legal agreement look like? How will a corporate approve the invoice? How will we make it valuable or bring value for all the participants in the platform? In answering all these questions, we have worked very closely with RBI and the banks in India. And thereafter, this product has been carved out. And in this journey, we have used the technology. We have created mobile app. We have created web version.
Hmm.
Corona kind of pushed us that the onboarding of all the MSMEs in India should be made digital, because we could not run couriers, we could not for one-time onboarding. So today, the entire process end to end is digital
Mm-hmm.
in this journey.
Okay.
Initially, when we approached the banks were hesitant for a product like this in 2016, because in India, that time, discounting an invoice electronically, no one had experienced, no one had heard of. And the banks were saying that this will not succeed. Factoring does not work in India. There are frauds which happen, and therefore this will not succeed. And they were not coming forward in a large manner. Uh, Step by step, it had to be built in. Demonetization happened. A lot of business became formal businesses in India. GST came in, that brought in authenticity of the invoices. So the ecosystem in India enabled this, and few banks agreed to take risk in the initial days of financing such invoices. Uh, the, the experience was positive. We only did 300 crore worth of invoices in our first year that we could discount. The entire money that was discounted came back to the came back to the banks successfully without any default,
Mm-hmm.
which gave the confidence to them. And then the next year we could do about 1200 crore invoices. And then from 3 banks, it became 18 banks. They started taking interest. And now all the public sector banks in India, 40 banks in India are participating in this. And today we are doing 1000 crores a month. So what we used to do 1200 crore in a year as a volume, today we are doing 1000 crore a month of volume.
Okay.
And that kind of size it has attained in 3 years. Uh, However, the market that we are looking to capture or garner is close to 1 lakh crore. Uh, and if we capture and garner that market, that will be not more than 20% of the overall market or 30% of the overall market. It will be in that range. So we are working on a journey towards reaching that stage.
Okay. You spoke about onboarding different stakeholders to the platform. And when you build a ecosystem, unless you onboard a significant number of entities to the platform, the network effect doesn't play. And hence, the platform is worthless till that point. So, can you tell us how did you onboard different stakeholders, not just the banks, but how did you convince the MSMEs, the corporates to come and join the platform?
Yeah. So, Priya, the toughest in this was a bank, to convince the banks to take a risk, because they are the ones who are taking the risk call. The toughest was them. The second toughest was the corporate, because the corporate said, why should I commit a payment date for an MSME on a platform? I mean, I can pay him directly, and even if there is any delay, I don't have to pay any penal interest. Why should I commit penal interest on a platform? The MSME definitely was the most beneficial of the entire process. So therefore, they were participative from early days. We had to, like I said, in case of banks, we had to kind of showcase the value and the volume to them. And today, they work very closely with us to build volumes, to plan, to make business plan about it, because it helps them grow their business tremendously without investing in it. For a large corporate, we had to prove it to them that if the cost of MSME will come down, your cost will come down. And as they experienced it, today all AA rated, AAA rated, large conglomerates are today participative on the platform. Further, because this was an MSME cause, this was a cause for development of MSME in the society. Government, MSME department, RBI, Ministry of Finance, they supported a lot. They released a notification wherein they made mandatory for all large corporates and PSUs to register themselves on Trades platform. Trades is M1, so that their MSMEs can benefit. And that compliance enabled corporates or pushed corporates to register themselves. And once they registered, we had to convince them that if they try a few transactions and if they succeed and their cost comes down, and they succeeded with all God's grace, and therefore the volume started increasing.
I think you were funded recently. Correct me if I'm wrong. Uh, but you have been building and growing this platform since last 3 or 4 years. Can you tell us how did you manage the financial runway to first of all build the platform and then the cost associated with the onboarding the stakeholders?
Yes, so Priya, very good question. We've been funded twice, once in 2019 and once in 2021. So 21 is a recent one. Uh, we started building the platform in 2016. We started with our internal capital proceeds from in 2016 because of my erstwhile business, which is running as a profitable business. So we contributed our capital from our erstwhile business, and we went to the market in 2018, and we were successful to to raise the proceeds in 2019 beginning.
Mhm.
So till 2000, from 2016 to 2019, we managed from our internal funding. We were operating in a bootstrap manner. Today also we operate in a very cost conscious manner, but that time we had limited funds only. And then after 2019, we had a runway for 2 years. We could successfully display that whatever the objective was, we are able to achieve it. And then in 2021, the next set of investors have come and partnered with us in this.
Now that you have got some kind of traction, I think it's a substantial traction. uh, can you tell us what is the vision you have for M1 exchange?
Yeah, so Priya, essentially, M1 is a supply chain finance product using technology, completely digital. Uh, our goal is that we are making a value add to in the society, in the heart of every MSME in India. We should be present in every desk, every home of the country. That if you want to get your invoice discounted, M1 is the place to be.
Mhm.
That's the ultimate goal, and we are working towards that goal every day. The network is increasing tremendously. I mean, we are adding about close to about 600 to 700 new participants every month.
Mhm.
And this number before second wave kicked in, this number was close to about 900 participants every month. Now in April and May with the second lockdown, it's going like 600 approximately. And if the way this digital wave and the value add it is bringing, we will be present in every city, every home MSME is present in. So we have to become a household brand. That's the objective.
Is there or will there be a blockchain component to it?
Yes, there will be. There is today also. For duplicate check, we use blockchain versus other players in the market, so that the invoice does not get financed on a duplicate manner. In future, blockchain will be used more and more as the tokenization becomes the norm of the country, then this every invoice can be tokenized, and that token can be financed. So the models exist. The commercial value of doing it uh, will will have to enable us to use blockchain. The commercial value will happen once the banks and the NBFCs come forward with a more open mindset of financing a token. So at the right time, we will be using it. I think it will come in some. It'll take some more time before that kind of token adoption in India becomes prominent.
What are the challenges that you have faced so far while building and growing this venture?
The challenges were getting the right talent to work with us, partner with us. So we had to attract or convince, not attract, convince the right team from the banking industry to partner with us and join us. That was one challenge. The other challenge was in the initial days convincing the banks to start working with us. The third challenge was raising the funds in any case because we were managing with our own funding, internal funding, and we had, if in 2019 we would not have raised the funds, we were running out of cash in the next 3 to 6 months at that time. Uh, the fourth challenge has been maintaining the team after hiring, maintaining them, their aspiration of growth, their outlook towards the product, their outlook towards the growth. So maintaining the team was also another challenge. So these are some of the challenges one has gone through working on this.
Okay. Speaking about maintaining the team, can you tell us few strategies you have implemented to retain right talent in the company?
Yeah. So Priya, as much transparency we've maintained with the team, it has helped us. Uh, Everybody knew in the system that this is a value add product and this will bring a change in the society. So therefore, they were convinced about the objective and the vision that the product carried. Uh, Having said that, the growth aspiration of the team, the willingness to work together amongst themselves, uh, all that. I mean, these are normal human challenges, and in this challenge, many times uh, people are not able to have see a growth for themselves, and they move on in their career. So we had to replace the teams, and we were successful in replacing some of our senior members well on time, as and when the movement happened. And today we are a 110 people team. It was started with 2 people, and in 4 years now we are a 110 people team going strong. Uh, we've been blessed by Amazon and BNext and Mayfield and Sidvi for an investment. So people do see a growth and innovative opportunity for them. Uh, so in a way, what we have given to our teams is freedom to operate in doing the things in their own innovative way, bringing innovation on the table, and making it more and more digital. So these objectives have helped the team that anything which is done manually, how to make it digital. And that's where innovation has been kind of pulled in by everyone in the system in making the product, designing the product, taking it to market, convincing the people, making the change happen, convincing banks, convincing large corporates. It has a flavor of rich experience that people have learned in this journey and taken a growth for themselves. That's how they're maintained.
Did you pivot your business model in between the journey?
Yes, we we the initial business model which was created, it was supposed to touch a height in 2019, and unfortunate, and we were going super growth mode in 2019, and that's when we were funded also. Now, unfortunately, in the country, ILFS crisis happened in 2019. There was a default by ILFS, and all the banks and the started shying away from new funding in terms of financing, and therefore the liquidity dried up in the economy.
Hmm.
And 2019, for almost 3 months, the volumes came down very dramatically. And this was the time when even the rating agencies started re-rating all the corporates in India. So a corporate which had an A rating, he started becoming triple B. Corporate who had a double A rated became single A rated, and so on and so forth. Because the rating came down, the banks reduced the funding, and
Hmm.
that brought down the liquidity of the platform. So we therefore had to change our customer base. We had to focus on double A rated corporates, triple A rated corporates, single A rated corporates, and their suppliers. And that helped us to come out of that crisis. And today, the exchange is successfully done close to 13,000 crore worth of financing, and the default is next to negligible, because the suppliers of large corporates, and these large corporates are double A rated, triple A rated, like I said, the mix is very high, and the mix of B rated corporate is low. So that's how we had to change our business mix over a period of time.
Can you tell us about few failures that you have gone through as an entrepreneur?
Few failures. Uh, in my 25 years of career, I would have lost senior teams at least twice in my career. The senior people who are managing the organization, who are growing the organization, they have moved on in their career, and that brings a lot of instability in the running process. So that has been one failure, but we have now learned it over a period of time. We have now mastered it over a period of time, and we ensure that we are having backup plans. There is growth for the layer 3 in case layer 2 moves on. So that has been learned and mastered now.
Hmm.
uh, the second instance has been when the external factors suddenly brought breaks into the growth, and which like I said, ILFS crisis which happened, we did not anticipate it, but it came like a blow onto us. And for 3 months, we went really through a rough weather. We had to reorganize ourselves, and that kind of was a second blow onto us. Of course, Corona, lockdown, all that has been the external factors again, which has impacted most of us. These are the few challenges, and any other. These are some of the big hiccups that I remember that have impacted me.
Okay. So, coming to the final question, this is the final question we ask in all the sessions. Tell us about the interesting lessons that you have learned as an entrepreneur, which can be taken away by our listeners and can be applied to their ventures. And they don't have to go through that learning phase again because you have gone through it.
Uh, yes. I mean, one of the points that I have inherited over a period of time is to be fearless. When you are making a dream, be fearless about it. Uh, pursue it with your passion. If you win, it's a good situation to be in. In case you lose, you learn from it and move on. So one is being fearless. Uh, Second, I would say is create a value. Don't just create go after a customer or profits or growth. Create a value in your offering. Master it so much that it becomes the best, and all this will follow. Whether it's revenue growth, whether it's customer growth, whether it's support from the teams, everything will follow. The third learning is the teams can do better than you. You can take a risk, you can be fearless. However, the art of doing it, everyone has his own way of doing it. So give the space to the team to innovate, let them experience their innovation, let them have a pleasure of taking the win. So let them give them the freedom to implement your project. And the fourth point I would say is collaborate with your investors. Investors bring a lot of value on the table. They help you grow in leaps and bounds. So be open to the investors and adapt them with all the freshness.
Okay. On this note, I am out of questions, and I would say it was a real learning experience for me as well. Thanks for your time, Sandeep, and I would like to say my best wishes for M1 Exchange.
Thank you, Priya. Good to connect with you, and all the best to the Entrepreneur Lounge to make it the best.
Thank you.